Guys, welcome back to the Garden with Peaches. I am her wonderful husband, Chris, and today she's going to be doing episode 2 of Proper Care and Feeding of Your Husband. I wanted to do this intro because this is one of those things that has allowed Peaches and I to connect on another level, because there's also a book called Proper Care and Feeding of a Marriage and Proper Care and Feeding of a Wife. We have developed this entire podcast based off of a relationship and communication, and over the last 13 months, 14 months of us doing this podcast has not only changed the lives of you, it's also changed the lives of us, the way that we communicate, the way that we feed each other or water each other, so to speak. And of all the things that she has done in terms of the garden episodes, these type of videos fill me the most, because I feel like it's something that she can talk on that has actually affected her husband. So without further ado, here's my wife.
Guys, isn't he so great? I was sitting in the other throne just watching him, just smiling, trying not to cry. So as he said, this is part 2 of Proper Care and Feeding of a Husband. Typically, I have my Kindle with my notes written down. I don't have that today, so I'm going to be going off my phone. Do I just want to sit here and bullshit with you guys for a second? I'm going to do that. I'm going to sit here and bullshit with you guys for a second before we jump into that. Because I don't want this to be you're just coming here to learn, right? I want this to be a connection, a sisterhood. So I don't know. What can I talk to you guys about? I've been super stressed lately. My ankle is really fucked. I went and saw an ortho yesterday. I had x-rays done about 3 weeks prior and nothing has gotten better. Well, pain-wise, it has gotten better. When it pops, it still hurts. And I hold back tears because I'm not no bitch. But tomorrow I'm getting an MRI, and because my ankle is just out of commission, I'm not really able to squat. I'm not able to bend down. Shifting my weight is uncomfortable. It feels very unstable. So the house is a mess. Laundry is not done. The house is chaotic. And I have not been able to cook the way that I want to cook. And I know it doesn't devalue me as a human being. It doesn't devalue me as a wife or a mother. Just internally, I feel like I'm slacking, and that's 100% a me problem. I have I think an unrealistic expectation of myself and how I should conduct my household. And it's just been subpar these last 3 weeks. It has been below my standard. My husband's fantastic. He helps. He's been, when I am fully out of commission, I cannot walk and I have to use crutches or something. He goes out of his way and makes sure that I'm taken care of and comfortable, and checking on the children and making sure that they're still alive. He is absolutely wonderful. I'm not going to ask him to get on his hands and knees and scrub baseboards and shit. That's a me thing. That's my standard. But he's been sweeping and vacuuming and tidying up, and it's much appreciated. He is the best part of me. I'm pausing to not cry. What's going on in your guys' lives? I want to start pulling comments from videos and reading them and actually have a conversation with you guys. So comment down below what you're going through, and on the next episode of whatever I do, I'll read through some comments and we'll have a little dialogue back and forth. I'm also thinking about... No, I'm not going to say that out loud just yet. Oh my gosh, Peaches, what was it? I don't know. You might find out. You may never find out. I might forget. Who knows? I also want to thank you guys for supporting the garden segment and actually tuning in and being interested in the conversations that are happening and being a part of the interviews and the murder mystery segments. So I am going to be doing a makeup segment type thing. I'm not showing you guys how to do makeup. I barely know how to do my own makeup. This will not be me doing an hour and a half of full face contour and lip liner and doing my, that's not me. It's going to be more of me sitting down, doing my makeup for the day, and I'm going to be talking about conspiracy theories. I am somebody who is very uncomfortable doing my makeup in front of people, especially if people are intrigued in the way that I do things. I am not the unicorn, I don't view myself that way. I think that there are much more capable people out there who know how to do makeup and do those kinds of things. I do enjoy doing my makeup though, and it tickles me that you guys want that content from me, so we're going to try it. We are going to dip our toes into the water, see if I enjoy doing it, see if you guys enjoy me doing it, and we'll go from there. Oh, guys, I'm so bad at responding to messages. Lauren, you remember Lauren the mortician. She came on and we did a spooky episode together. And if you guys are interested in more content like that, let me know. Her and I do voice messages back and forth. And she sent me voice messages like a day ago. And it was 7:00 in the morning. And I was like, I can't listen to these yet. And I totally forgot to listen to them. And she just sent me another message. Reminder. I have to get to that. All right, so now let us delve into part 2, proper care and feeding of a husband. First note I have is some women are pissed off sitting at dinner, a surprise date that their husband planned, because he didn't get her flowers. You cannot overlook the way that your husband loves you because it's not the way that you would love him. You cannot expect a synthetic love and feel genuine love at the same time. Let's break that down a little bit further. So, surprise dinner date. Husband just got off of work, 10-hour shift. Say he does construction. He's outside all day, very laborious. Probably very physically exhausted. Has seen that his wife has been going through it in her own terms and decided to take her out to her favorite restaurant for dinner. Text her, baby, I'll be home at 7:00. Be dressed and ready. I already got a sitter planned. All of this is hypothetical, of course. All of that's done. He picks her up. And because she didn't receive flowers, she's going to be pouty the whole night. Short answers, not really feeling the vibe of things, not a joy to be around. Because she didn't get what she wanted out of the surprise date that her husband planned. Even if she has made it known, I love flowers. I love it when you give me flowers. It makes me feel appreciated. It's like the fairy in me is just so stoked. It connects me with nature, whatever it may be. And I can't remember where I was going with that because I got hung up on the fairy and nature. Even if she has communicated that, and this is maybe the second or third time he's forgotten to bring flowers when he has planned something else. He planned something else. He put energy into doing something for you that a vast majority of women complain that their man won't even do for them. If you would rather have flowers than go out to your favorite restaurant and be shown off and be eye candy and have an intimate moment with your husband and quality time, just say that. That's okay. It is also okay to not want to leave the house. If you would rather have quality time at home and do a movie night and get comfy on the couch and have flowers, just say that. To expect, let's rewind it. Synthetic. Let's Google the definition of synthetic. Definition of synthetic, adjective, of a substance, in parentheses, made by chemical synthesis. Oh, fuck me. Synthesis? Oh, man. I'm skipping that. Especially to imitate a natural product. And then the second definition is of logic, of a proposition having truth or falsity determinable by recourse to experience. So, either way, a synthetic version of something is the knockoff version of something. It is not the natural occurring product, element, emotion, whatever it is. So to expect someone to love you the way that you would love them because everybody loves differently, right? Everybody has a love language and everyone receives love differently. For example, myself, I am very much an acts of service kind of person. I express my love by taking care of my husband, by taking care of my children. That's really where it's at. Strangers get a different form of a love language. It's like we are all a child of God and I see him in you, so I will be courteous. But that acts of service really is centered around my husband. To receive love, though, don't do anything for me. What do you mean you're getting ready to vacuum? I appreciate you seeing me stressed out, but do you feel like I'm slipping? Like, I go down this whole rabbit hole of self-evaluation because I am the one who do the acts of service, right? It works out fantastically because my husband's really not the acts of service kind of love shower. He's more of a gift giver and physical touch and quality time. I receive love through physical touch. If my husband hasn't smacked my ass in 2 hours, do you hate me? If I were to force my husband to love me in acts of service, it would be begrudgingly done. It would be done out of obligation, out of, I don't want to deal with her being angry with me. That's the kind of synthetic love I'm talking about. So if that is the kind of love that you are pushing onto your partner to love you by, how can you expect genuine love and admiration from that? Next point. Hurried woman syndrome. Let me say that again. Hurried woman syndrome. I bet a lot of you are going through that right now.
You know all about that, huh? Hurry, woman!
I like it when you talk to me like that.
I know.
I don't know what it is. It's just so sexy. Maybe because that's not how he is and I know it's a joke. But it does something for my heart. Hurried woman syndrome. A constant panic, anxious, fight or flight that results in a short fuse and aggression, and typically the husband and the children are not the problem. I'm going to let you marinate on that one a little bit, guys. Let me take a hit real quick. I have a very upset tummy today. Very disgruntled in there. And I'm going to fast today, and that hit actually kind of settled it a little bit. That was nice. All right, so that's long enough of marinating. We're going to pull you out the fridge and keep going. It is the lack of fulfillment that the woman feels because she is pulled in multiple directions and is unable to complete a few minor tasks. Right? So I saw a TikTok the other day. I think my husband showed it to me. Of a woman just frantically going around the house. And she started in the living room and she was like, look, the kids made a massive mess. So now I have to clean up this mess and start putting things away. And as I'm cleaning up their mess, I noticed that their plates are still out. So I'm going to pick up their plates from lunch and take that to the kitchen. And then I recognize that the sink is full of dishes. So now I have to start working on the dishes. And then looking at these dishes made me realize that I didn't eat lunch. So now I have to stop what I'm doing to prepare myself food. And now I'm looking in the refrigerator and recognizing I have to go grocery shopping. Like, it's a whole thing, right? And it's just one thing after another. Me, personally, after seeing that TikTok, I would have been like, okay, well, I'm going to start with the dishes, right? Because once the dishes are done, it's not like it's going to immediately get filled again the way that children take toys out of a toy box. I would start with the dishes, finish the dishes, and then move on to something else. I don't like to eat until I'm able to be comfortable, maybe under a blanket. Right? I have my AirPod popped in listening to my anxiety show. I'm really like, I don't like feeling rushed when I eat. I've done enough of that as a mom. You guys know it if you have children. That hurry, just inhaling food like Kirby, just I'm over that. I want to be able to sit down and actually enjoy the meal that I've cooked and the tones and the flavors. Call me Remy from Ratatouille because I'm able to dissect all of that with my palate. Oh Lord, I'm jumping places. Okay. Back into this. A jack of all trades, but a master of none. It's not bad to be a jack of all trades, but a master of none. A master of none is where I take that issue, right? For a long time, I heard the term, you're either a Winnie the Pooh, you're either a Winnie the Pooh or a Mickey Mouse, right? Winnie the Pooh is 100% contempt with his honey. He is not looking to further himself in life. He wakes up, puts on his red t-shirt, rubs his belly and eats honey and hangs out with his friends. He is totally fulfilled, right? Mickey Mouse, on the other hand, he's doing a little bit of everything. He's a sorcerer. Oh man, I'm recognizing that I really have not brushed up on my Mickey Mouse. I know that he was a sorcerer. Oh, Steamboat Willie. He knows how to drive a steamboat. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Toodles, right? Doing that whole thing. Mickey Mouse does a lot. I don't like either of those because I like having my hands in everything, right? I like dabbling in a little bit of everything. I like having a little bit of information about a lot. I also don't want to be the person who's not good at just one thing, right? My high school career was playing the saxophone. That was my one thing. I was good at reading. I was good at math. I was good at science. I was good at writing stories. I dabbled in a couple of things, but the saxophone was where I was at. I was practicing daily. I was at school. I was at competitions. I was winning medals. Like, that was the thing that I mastered in high school. And even in high school, like, I wasn't at the point of like pro shit. I was just top tier for a teenager. Now, in adulthood, I want to master having an apothecary, and I'm working on that. I'm also dabbling in other things. I have plants and I read, and I'm learning about relationships and psychology, and I'm now branching off into more politics and becoming more well-versed in that. I'm not going to master any of it by no means, but I do want to have one thing that I'm very well-versed in. If you are a jack of all trades but don't have one thing that you want to master, and that means that you don't have a hobby. You don't have something just for you that fulfills you, that fills your cup up after you fill up everybody else's. Because of this frustration and short fuse, you make everybody suffer, including strangers in traffic. Let that one sink in. I was that person. I was that road rager. I would scream and I would cuss and I would brake check. I was not a safe driver. I was not. And all of that was learned, of course, growing up, witnessing things and whatnot. That was learned behavior. And I have now unlearned that behavior because, bitch, why are you so mad? Right? Like, if somebody cuts me off in traffic, I didn't do anything wrong. That says more about that person and their hurriedness and their short fuse than it does about me. My reaction, not my response, is indicative of me and my character and my behavior. We're not going to play that game here. I made a TikTok. I made a TikTok. I don't know if you guys have seen this one. I was sitting at a red light, straight left turn lane, and right next to me was the right turn lane. I'm sitting there and I'm vibing and I'm listening to the Backstreet Boys and I'm bopping, and I look over and they have the red light. Of course, you can turn right on red unless there's a sign that specifies you should not. Little old woman in her little 4-door, I don't know, Toyota maybe, and then big dude in a big beefy truck just laying on his horn at her. She could have gone. She determined that she did not feel safe going for whatever the reason may be. Maybe eventually it came to just, in spite of him, I'm not gonna go. He's honking, she's throwing her hands up. He's honking, she's throwing her hands up. And then eventually this little 70-year-old woman, overweight, gets out of her car and starts approaching this man. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, somebody come and get your grandma. What are you gonna do? If anything, this man can hit you with his truck, right? He has already shown that he's agitated with your ass. Why would you want to escalate the situation by getting out of your car, throwing your hands up? I am all for, if a woman starts violence, that woman's going to receive violence, right? If you approach a man and hit that man has every right to hit you. I saw another TikTok the other day. It's crazy the things that I pick up from TikTok. This man said a man is expected to defend himself and his family from a dangerous animal, whether that animal be male or female, right? If a mama bear is running at a child, That father is expected to protect his child by any means necessary, correct? So why would it not be the same when it comes to human animals? Because we are animals. We may have superior intelligence to most other things. We may be able to produce things because of our opposable thumbs and intellect. It boils down to we are Homo sapiens. We are still a category of animal. Moving on to the next point. Because a mother could be pulled in all directions, wearing multiple hats, including stressors from work, there will be a guilt of neglect towards the children. So in the already short amount of time to get things done, the overcompensation of the mother, because she feels guilty, she is inundated with time with the children, and there is no room for self-care. All of this was talk to text, so let's do that again. I am listening to audiobook as I'm making these notes, and I'm jumping back and forth. A mother can be pulled in all directions, wearing multiple hats, including stressors from work. All right, so let's pause there. A vast majority of mothers are working. A vast majority of mothers don't have an option but to work, especially if they are a single mom, right? As a previous single mom, I like to think that I'm recovered from that, right? Because I chose to be a single mom. I chose to leave my previous marriage and move out and do everything on my own. I chose that hard. And there was almost an air of superiority about me. Because I was like, yeah, I'm a mom and I'm a woman and I'm single and I'm doing everything on my own. Like, I can prove to you that I don't need a man. Very toxic mindset. There is 100% a guilt there of I am taking myself away from my children. There will be a guilt of neglect towards the children. Not saying that the children are neglected, but moms do tend to feel as if they are neglecting their children because they can't be there all of the time. Even now, me having Chris and being home almost all of the time, we have the podcast and we're working and I'm sitting here recording this with you, I could be with my children, right? I had that taste of stay-at-home mom, and it was top tier, like 5-star Michelin restaurant. Fantastic for me. And I was able to spend more time with our children. Now, that's not the case. We are building up a future, not just for us, but for our children, that it is necessary for me to remove myself from the home a little bit at a time. I have to check myself, right? When the kids do something wrong, there has to be consequences for their actions or for their decision. I can't go easy on them because I feel guilty over the fact that I wasn't able to spend all day Sunday with them, right? That is a hindrance to the child. When you don't correct behaviors the way that they should be corrected out of guilt, because you feel as if you are a subpar mother, you are setting your child up for fail long-term as an adult. That's where that overcompensation comes in, right? You are overcompensating because you feel as if you are in the wrong in your mind, right? If there are no outside circumstances like their father coming to you or your mother or sister or brother or anybody in a community coming to you going, hey, I really don't think this is the move. Like, you're kind of being a bad mom right now. You're not a bad mom. Right? If you are not physically abusing your children, verbally abusing your children, you are not doing anything to put your children in harm's way, you're not a bad mom. That overcompensation can lead to you spreading yourself too thin because now I have 45 minutes available. I can either go take a bath or I can continue spending time with the children. When that guilt is present, you are going to forego the bath and spend time with your children. You foregoing that self-care time will lead you to burnout faster than anything else. My husband has told me before that something that he admires about me is the fact that I will stop whatever the fuck I'm doing and go, I'm taking a bath. I am far too stressed out for this. I am far too overwhelmed. If I continue doing this, it will not be my best work or whatever it may be, X, Y, and Z. I'm going to go take a 2-hour bath. I'm going to go sit outside and lay on our driveway and just feel the sun for 30 minutes. I am very selfish with my self-care because if I'm not taken care of, I can't take care of the people in my life. And in my opinion, as a wife, as a mother, as a woman, it is my job to be nurturing and to be supportive and to be that loving role in the lives of the people in my life. So if I don't have that self-care, I'm just going to be miserable. I'm going to be short-fused. I am going to be snarky. I may be, it's all autopilot. Like I'm not purposely doing these things. That is part of keeping my mental illness in check. My self-care is part of keeping my mental illness in check. Sit with that one, guys. On to the next point. Are you nicer to strangers or telemarketers? Or are you nicer to your husband? Let me elaborate on that one. So when you pick up the phone and it's a random number and you have no idea who it is, typically you go, hello. Or if it's a wrong number, oh, no worries, it's okay, you didn't bother me, and you move on with your life. If your husband does something to slightly inconvenience you the way that wrong number did, what is your reaction? Moving on. There was a time when modesty, chastity, and fidelity were in vogue with women who viewed themselves more than just sexual objects. They were well respected, and in today's day and age, that is not the case. You are ridiculed, shamed, and put down. If there is even a slight inkling for you that might not be the case in today's society, call me the poster child for that, because I get nonstop hate for having modesty, being faithful to my husband. Chastity, not so much. That's more of like you're saving yourself for marriage kind of thing, I believe. Let me Google chastity. Oh, a state or practice of refraining from extramarital or especially from all sexual intercourse. So chastity can be used as a term when you mean that you are not seeking sexual anything outside of your marriage. Yeah, that's me. I don't care that people find me attractive. I don't care that men or women find me beautiful or hot or sexy or all of these other kinds of things, because they're saying that to every other woman that they see. Right? I am just a object to gawk at. I'm not a human being when it comes to those kinds of terms. So the only person I need to hear those things from is my husband. His opinion is the only opinion that matters to me. Now, in a cesspool of our own creation, women have to deal with men who expect sexual favors on the first date or second date, or just texting on the internet without meeting face to face, right? All of that came from my brain. Let me read that again and kind of correct things a little bit. So now, in a cesspool of our own creation, us women, right? Because no means no. If we did not give in to the pestering men, or it's just about sex for us too, it would not be a continuation of, damn girl, you hot, you want to meet up, versus actually getting to know the human being and seeing where things go. Women have to deal with men who expect sexual favors on the first or second date, or even just after texting on the internet without a face-to-face meeting. That happens. Back in my early 20s, there were men who would reach out to me and literally just flat out ask, hey, do you want to smash? Like, I don't even know what you look like. Why are you asking me this question? As women, We need to regain the control of how we are perceived in society. Women who dress provocatively and are scantily clad with their ass hanging out, no, like nipples covered, and that's it. The person really coming to mind right now is Kanye West, his new wife. What's her name? Bianca Censori, I think. Kanye just posted a photo of his new wife on Instagram, and it is literally all ass. Like, her full back side is not covered. And her front side, it is just a very sheer, you can see everything, like nipple, pussy, lips, all of it. That is how women are now presenting themselves. That is how they are now marketing themselves. There is not a well-respected man that I can think of, right, who conducts himself as a man, who upholds the gentleman values and all those kinds of things. There is not an interest in looking at that presentation of woman, right? The men who are interested in women presenting themselves that way are the bottom of the barrel, not husband material, like good relationship that vast majority of us are looking for, right? If he's willing to look at you that way on the internet, you have to assume that he's willing to look at any woman like that on the internet. If that is how he found you, marketing yourself on Instagram or TikTok with your chest out, your ass out, getting all of this attention from men, you are not the only one he's looking at that way. This is a fun one. Men bashing groups is nothing more than a form of entertainment and a way to avoid accountability. In the book, the author, Laura, do I have Proper Care and Feeding of a Marriage over here? Yes, I do. Proper Care and Feeding of a Marriage. Her name is Dr. Laura Schlesinger. I am so sorry if I butchered that. This is another one of her books, Proper Care and Feeding of a Marriage. In the Proper Care and Feeding of a Husband, she includes a little anecdote from a grandfather to a son. And the story goes, 2 wolves live in my heart. One is wise and kind. The other is vicious and cruel. And they are at a blood war. His grandson asks him, which one will win?
The one I feed the most.
Correct. The grandfather says, whichever one I feed the most. If you are in a relationship where you feel that bashing your husband or boyfriend or fiance or whomever you're with, girlfriend, wife, if you are feeling you need to bash them, why is there so much hate in your heart, right? And why are you feeding it? Why are you giving that hate your attention when you should be focused on mending the relationship with the person that you claim to love? Men are simple creatures. They want to be their wife's hero, their wife's perfect lover, and the best protector. They want to feel admired and appreciated by the most attractive woman in the world to them. The cruelest thing a wife can do to her husband is to never be happy. Being happy is an attitude. It does not have to be your reality. As somebody with borderline and massive depression and days where I just cannot focus on anything besides not unaliving myself, I still choose happiness because that's who my husband fell in love with, right? He still loves me with my mental illness. He doesn't love me for my mental illnesses. He loves me in despite of my mental illnesses and my depression and the hard days that I go through. If I were somebody who just sulked and pity me, woe is me, I'm in a bad mood, you're not allowed to have fun, like how dare you want to go out and ride your dirt bike with somebody when you know I'm sitting here depressed? Who wants to be around that? The point of being with somebody for the rest of your life is to experience life together. And if your life is just misery, you're not happy in that. Why would your husband want to be happy in that with you? They want to feel admired and appreciated by the most attractive woman in the world to them. I have said it before and I will say it again. I am the fine apple of my husband's eye. I know that he views me as the most attractive woman in the world to him. Why wouldn't I want to be his cheerleader? Right? Like deep down, every woman just wants to be the only woman that their man looks at. And if he is doing that for you, if he is giving that to you, why wouldn't you want to boost him? Right? He's boosting you. Equivalent exchange. So, this is what Laura said in her book. It is very rare to see a wife respond to her husband with openness, nurturing, and warmth. We typically see women respond with harsh, bitter words and anger. Just tongue cutting like a knife. In recent history, the only time that I can think of me being harsh with my husband, like speaking harshly to him, this was months ago too. We were out riding our dirt bikes. To me, it was very tumultuous terrain. I was absolutely terrified. Like we were going up and down vertically on things. I was climbing with my bike. And he was saying something to me. I don't know if I didn't respond. I was full autopilot. Like I was focused on survival. And I snapped at him and I was like, I'm fucking terrified. And he went, damn, like you don't have to talk to me like that. I felt so bad afterwards because I was on autopilot. I didn't think I was speaking to my husband. I didn't think that he was trying to be encouraging and helpful to me. I was solely focused on the fact that I am riding my bike vertically up a hill and it's maybe 4 or 5 feet. I have to take my bike up. I've never done that before. And at that point, I have already fallen off my bike and eaten shit a couple of times. One time I really hurt myself. My knee is still messed up from that. And I was full fight or flight, like focusing on not killing myself. Now, going forward, I make sure to check myself when I respond to my husband in our con system. I don't care how scared I am. I don't care how terrified I am. I don't care if I am crying. I am going to be soft and gentle in those moments because he is trying to be helpful and lift me up and be supportive and be everything he is to be as my husband. When was the last time that you snapped at your husband in anger and didn't apologize for it? This is verbatim. She said, and I quote, "Some listening to this may feel stuck in an angry and voidless place with their husband." That's the quote from her. I wrote behind that, can't relate. That's all that I had on that. I cannot imagine just constantly being angry with my husband because he exists, right? My husband and I are on terms of, if I do something wrong, you need to tell me. I can't correct my actions if I don't know that it bothers you. So if you are in a constantly angry place with your husband, have you communicated why you're angry? And if you have communicated, why hasn't it changed? Right? Whether that be you are still holding on to grudges and just can't get past the fact that you're mad at him, or he's not changing his behavior. And if he's not changing his behavior at that point, you really need to evaluate, why did you marry this man? Right? Because if he has been that way since the time that you have met him, you can't be angry about that now. You can't. That is unfair to him because you married who he was, not the idea of him. When women grow up without a father in the home, it can lead to expectations that bleed from the role of a boyfriend or husband to father. Women that grew up without having a father present to correct inappropriate behaviors, they mature into adulthood. And when a woman continues to carry out these behaviors and the husband tries to correct, he steps from the husband role into the father role, causing resentment. Right? So I did not have a father present growing up. There were boyfriends, possible fiance, I think, but there was never really a stable father figure for me growing up. Looking back now as a woman, there are a lot of things that I missed out that I had to correct later on in life, especially when it comes to being with a man, because I don't think like a man. One of those things is you can't be friends with a boy or a man who is attracted to you. You can't. If you have a male friend who you're best friends with and it's not like that, if you called him right now and said, hey, do you want to Netflix and chill? Or my husband and I are separating, can you come over and comfort me? He will be there in a heartbeat. There are men who will play the long con on the hopes of one day getting a chance with you. If your boyfriend or husband has said, hey, babe, that dude makes me really uncomfortable because he's very clearly attracted to you, he's seeing shit that you're either unwilling to see or willingly overlooking because they are filling an attention void in you. Bitch, I said what I said. Hey, I know that's going to make some people angry. Next bullet point. Today's society has cultivated a culture of women not seeking the approval of their husbands. And my assumption is because they can seek the approval of millions of men on the internet, along with women who approve of them, seeking the attention of millions of men on the internet. Right? So there could be a woman right now who is married to somebody and is still posting hurtful images to him that are provocative or attention seeking. She is getting sexual attention on the internet that upsets her husband. And there will be women that tell her, who cares what he says? Your life is about you. Do what makes you happy. If that is what makes you happy, why did you get married? Right? I'm all here for the whole culture. If you want to be a hoe and go out and just sleep with a bunch of people and post yourself provocatively and do OnlyFans, you do that. If that makes you happy and you are thriving and you are healthy and mentally you're growing and your life is just being cultivated into what you imagined it would be, fuck yeah. Do not drag a man into that mess knowing that that's not what he wants. A study was done with infants where an obstacle was placed between the infant and the mother. The boy infants would try to knock over, climb, or move the obstacle, and the female infants would cry. So the boys would try to problem solve, and the girls would just vocalize their distress. We see it in infants, where boys are problem solvers and girls just want to hear, they want to be heard that they are not okay right now. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you're on Patreon listening to this, you've heard us say over and over again that if you go to your man with anything, his first instinct is going to try to problem solve. So if you are just venting, it needs to be stated, hey babe, I'm just venting. I'm fucking going through it and I need you to have a bitch sesh with me. Not meaning that he's going to sit there and bitch with you, but you can sit there and just bitch all you want. And he will listen. And I don't know, if you want him to brush your hair or something, say that. But boys are born with the instinct to problem solve to get to where they want to go. Speculation. Do men feel loved by their women when they are allowed to do things for themselves? And do women feel loved by their man when they realize what their man can do for them? That was a lot for me to process. Like when I made that note, that was a lot for me to process. Because a vast majority of men feel they cannot be their own person in their marriage or their relationship. They have to do whatever makes their wife happy to avoid an argument. I used to go hunting. It would make her angry that I wasn't home, so I don't go hunting anymore. I used to ride dirt bikes, but she told me I was spending too much money on dirt bikes, so I just don't ride dirt bikes anymore. And that example, right? If the woman is going out and spending money on whatever she wants to spend money on, like makeup and clothes or kitchen appliances, right? Both are spending money. The problem with the man is that he's not home with her. And there are women who go out and seek men purely for a level up, for a bank account. Oh, he can take me out to a $200 dinner every single week? Okay. Oh, he can fund my makeup addiction? Okay. Men assume when their wife comes to them to tell them something, it's for a reason, and that he can either fix it or he can do something about it.
That's true.
That's why I feel like I've gotten good on it. When I come to you, I'm like, I just need a bitch for a minute. Okay. Have you ever had that moment of, bro, why the fuck are you telling me this? That is a vast majority of your husband. That is a vast majority of your husbands. You need to stop treating him like a girlfriend and start treating him like the man and the husband that he is. Your husband is not there to be your best girlfriend. Your husband's there to be your husband. There are times where I am talking to Chris and I'm even like, why the fuck am I telling you this? Totally useless information. I'm a storyteller. Women, we are inherently storytellers. We will say what we did at 2:00, how we thought of something, and that's why we need $300. It's just, babe, I need $300 for X, Y, and Z. When can we make that happen? Data input, data output. To be with a man is to understand that he will do stupid things. And it has never been done out of malice. Men do stupid things with other men all of the time. And 9 out of the 10 times, it gets a laugh. In moments where your husband does something stupid, he does not need retaliation from you. Right? Men, even grown-ass men, they are 12, 13-year-old boys on the inside. They want to laugh at fart jokes and smash beer cans on their hand and see who can hold their breath underwater the longest. Life is stressful. It's fucking one thing after another. Somebody's always pissed off, especially if you're a business owner. Somebody's always pissed off. Money needs to be moved. Money needs to be created. It's a lot. So their decompression is being stupid and having fun and not thinking about being an adult for a minute. When you think about it, a man's job is to make sure everybody else in his life survives. Right? As a wife, I don't have to worry about my husband. My husband's got himself. 9 times out of 10, I got myself too. He is there as the strong one, as the logical one to help me. I'm a fucking wreck. I'm a mess. As a woman, I am all over the place. My hormones, pH balance, always fucked up. I'm if you haven't checked out matrix hormones, you should, because they are working on me and it's a lot. There are times where Chris says something and he goes, I shouldn't have said that. And I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have said that. And then we move on. It's a moment of learning of, okay, you did that. I didn't like that. Let's not do that again. And it's a moment of, on his end of, oh, she didn't like that. That didn't make her happy. I want to make her happy. Noted, not doing that again. There is no need to, oh, I can't believe you fucking did that. You embarrassed me. You always do this. I can't believe you never listened to me. Oh my gosh, just saying that, my back hurts. I'm exhausted. I feel like I need to scrub my skin. That just feels sharp and pointy and abrasive, like falling off a motorcycle going 50 miles an hour on asphalt. I'm good on that. So he doesn't need retaliation from you. He needs forgiveness. I am almost certain that the embarrassment that he is feeling within himself is enough. Right? No man, no husband wants to do something stupid in front of his woman that she's not going to think is funny. If a man does something stupid and it doesn't get a laugh, it has the adverse reaction, it actually hurts her feelings. He is 100% embarrassed in that moment and feels like shit. We are our own worst critics. So when your man has apologized and says, look, I'm not going to do that again. I'm so sorry that hurt you. Tell him thank you. He is already ripping himself to shreds. You don't have to jump on the bandwagon of hating your husband. Part of being mature is not blurting out every single issue that comes across your mind. You pick and choose the things that you deal with in reality and handle the rest internally. If the issue is unrelated to your marriage, there is absolutely nothing your husband can do to fix the situation, and venting about it more than once or twice becomes trivial. That's pretty self-explanatory. There are a lot of things, as somebody with borderline, that I keep internally because 85% of it is an irrational reaction. I am swinging too heavily one way or the other. It is very hard for me to center myself on what is logical to do, right? There are struggles and battles and wars that I go through that my husband has no idea about because I stepped in water with my sock on. He doesn't need to know the whole internal fallout of that. I will say I fucking stepped in water with my sock on and he'll go, oh my God, babe, I'm so sorry. Go center yourself. And that's what I go do. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out conversation. He does not have to feel the emotions that you are feeling. A listening ear is enough in those moments. If your husband put his toothbrush down the wrong way and that bothered you, just move the toothbrush. He's not even going to notice that you moved it. There are things that I move around the house that my husband has no idea, and he just finds it and goes, oh, that's where it's at. And that's it. Forgiveness is used as leverage or as a weapon, as a consequence for past transgressions or imaginary ones. So you need to pick one. Do you want a happy marriage or do you want to leave the marriage? Because you can't get over whatever the transgression is. That's the two fucking options. For you to subject somebody to a lifetime of belittlement and anger and no happiness because they did something to you 6 years ago, you're the problem right now. Especially if that behavior has changed and they are no longer the person they were 6 years ago when that happened. Being the reason that your husband walks around on eggshells, you are being the warden of his mind. Who is the real one being held captive? You can choose anger or you can choose forgiveness. This will be the last one of today. I'm going to end it on this note and we'll pick it up on the next episode. Women only care about a man's feelings when it is not harmful to them in any way. Women only care about a man's feelings when it is not harmful to them in any way. So if your man comes home and he had a hard day at work, you're willing to hear about that hard day. You're willing to hear about him bitch about his bosses, his coworkers. You're willing to hear him complain about his mother. You might even be willing to hear him complain about your own family. Once he brings something to you, though, you did X, Y, and Z, and it made husband feel sad, made husband feel like he didn't matter, all of a sudden that's a fucking problem because now you're wrapped up in the causing of the emotion. You need to be able to take a step back and go, damn, you know what? I did do that. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be called on your shit and know that you are the reason that someone has a negative emotion. When your husband comes to you about something that you've done, unless he has shown himself to be malicious and want to tear you down, it is literally just a problem solve for the marriage so you guys can continue forward with your happiness. Don't take things so personally in life, right? If my husband comes to me and says, you did X, Y, and Z and it made me feel X, Y, and Z, he does not need excuses. He does not need, oh, well, I was in the middle of this, that, and I was on autopilot. No, I am sorry that I did something that made you feel that way. And then the explanation can come in of, I was in the middle of this, I was feeling this emotion, and I was on autopilot. So now going forward, not only are you verbalizing what moments you need to check yourself in, he now knows if you're going through it, that might not be the opportune time to bring it up to you. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Garden. What are you guys thinking about all of this? Like, do you feel as if you're growing from these segments? Do you feel that there is actual productivity for you coming from these? I want to know your opinions. And I will see you on the next one.